Plenty of good seats still available. Cell phones are permitted. That's the 11th commandment. And forget about the raising your hand rule. And eating. This is not Metro. You can eat all you want. You got to share, though, okay? Yeah, no raising the hands. You can just shout out if something comes up, okay? Bicycle standard time means if you tell somebody you're getting there at 2 o'clock, you're going to be there at 2:15. If you're here for anything but two-wheel recumbents, you're in the wrong seminar. If you're here for the macrame class or the fondue, that's at the next event, okay? You're old enough to remember fondue. Okay. That was the most popular item at yard sales back then, the fondue set and single beds. Okay. It has? We used to have wine, cheese, fondue, and tubular tire patching parties. The wine would start about the same time we got the needle and thread out. So, it was 1982. I was at the Carlisle automobile swap meet. People bring bicycles and motorcycles and cool stuff. Okay, that's back when I was really into hoarding things. I had a post-war sedan delivery Chevrolet and I was buying parts for it. And I spotted a recumbent bicycle, what I knew would become a recumbent. It was the model of the Easy Racer, 1983, it was red. The guy told me it was used in the movie A Night in Heaven. I think that's a 4.2 star, okay? 1980, so a 2-star, a 2 or 3 star movie, and I went and looked at it on the phone, and that movie has not just a quick blink of an Easy Racer, but the star guy owns the bike and he rides it and he hangs it up and he's very good at it. He's very smooth, not just your typical stunt person on a bike. So I brought it home and I had it at the store and a guy named Cliff Essman bought it. He was an MG car collector and he thought it was cool. He still has it. And it was red. Back then you could make a Tour Easy like recycled recumbents. You could make one out of a kit. They used to sell the plans, I think, for $12. So I rode the bike and I really liked it, okay? And back then I was selling these. This was our #1 selling long wheelbase bicycle. The #1 short wheelbase was a Lightning F, whatever. They made a lot of P38, okay. And those were the powers. And then came along the Ryan Vanguard, and then that was taken over by Long Bikes, okay? She's part-time with the Smithsonian right here, okay? And she's not really old enough to remember. She's seen a lot of movies and magazines. She's not of this era. So the Ryan Vanguard, that used to be called the Ryan Fleetwood, and he decided, he thought he was so important, like the Beretta car stopped making it because the gun people sued them. You don't want to be sued by a gun person. So Ryan stopped calling his the Fleetwood and called it the Vanguard. And there are a whole lot of other recumbents back then. And people would come into the store, and my wife would work the store a little bit, and they would say, I want a comfortable bicycle. And I'd take them over to a comfort bike, or a hybrid bike, or this or that. And I got the big elbow. She didn't have a rolling pin with her. I got the big elbow. And she said, put them on a recumbent. I said, no. If I sell them this bike, I will sell 2 bikes. Because if they buy the recumbent, they're not coming back for the other bike. So I had a little bit of a motive there. So now, on the tricycle, very important, if you can't afford to fall, no-brainer, tricycle, absolutely, okay? And it doesn't have to be what 95% of the trikes are. It does not have to be a low, fast tadpole tricycle. The people here at Haza, Sunseeker, and many other people make nice Delta tricycles. A little bit higher viewpoint. Your Delta tricycle is basically the same position as this, which if you look at the old VHS tape from Easy Racers, you'll see that your head on this is the same height as I am on my racing bike. Same height. And that head height is above the average car fender today. What's the average car fender? Pickup, SUV, minivan. Well, when you're on something low, you can't see over those. You can put 6 premier flags on that thing and strobe lights and sirens. That doesn't mean you can see past that wedge of those 2 vehicles to your sides. So I asked 2 questions of safety these days. I said, are you going to be anywhere near traffic, motor vehicles? And if the answer is yes, I said, please consider a higher POV point of view. You want your head up higher, because you'll have that 180 or more, I think we can see 200 to 210, periphery that you can't get anywhere else. You can't get it on a Harley because you got a helmet on. You can't get it in a car, which motorcyclists call a cage. You get it on a bicycle. You've got the vision, okay? You've got the view, okay? So if you put that below the car fender, you're not going to see as much. The other thing is, if you like to ride with the group, being down on the ground versus being a little higher or on a 2-wheeler, I'm still on a trike now, is a little bit more socialistic with the other people, okay? When you're down, it's awkward. When people asked in the old days to come with their car on a motorcycle rally or their motorcycle to a car rally, yeah, you can keep up. It's just awkward. It's just awkward, okay? It could be in your face. When we had the cat trike rally down in Florida, 150 people, people showed up on these. That was kind of an okay mix. But when people showed up on the road bikes, and they were invited, we were inclusive in the cat trike rally, it was just awkward. Different speed dynamic, especially on the hills. There's just a different, it's like having a tandem in the group. Okay, we asked tandems to stay in the back, okay, because tandems have a different slinky effect going up and down the hills. So if you can't afford to fall and you don't have the balance, it's tricycle time. It really is. Now, trikes are a lot of fun. Trikes, to me, are what Darwin would call operant conditioning. You get in that tricycle, you immediately go back to that roller coaster. We had Glen Echo Amusement Park. You go back to that feeling of a roller coaster. You go back to that feeling of the go-kart, that I loved go-karts. I'm low to the ground, even though I'm going 35, I feel the stimulation. The stimulation of a tricycle is different than that of a bicycle. The stimulation of a bicycle only goes this way. It's a vector. When you lean into a turn, the vector goes straight up. So when you get on the tricycle, you immediately have the side stimulation. And I would never been skydiving, but I would say it's like skydiving to get on that tricycle. It's very thrilling the first time you get on that tricycle. The 100th time you get on the tricycle, and maybe the 100th time you skydive, the dynamic is a little bit different. It becomes known to you, that side stimulation you get. Just pull that handle and get thrown to the left. Pull this handle and get thrown to the right. It's exciting. I like it. I have a tricycle. I have 2 of I don't want to tell you that I have so many trikes, but when we're in Polk City, Florida, on Friday night, there is a trike ride. We ride trikes with our friends in Polk City, Florida, and they provide trikes for us. Normally in Florida, we have 2 of these. My wife and I happen to like this model bicycle because it's comfortable. We can ride 0-degree turns. This one basically turns on its back wheel. You got to put your knee out so the handlebar doesn't hitch. But it turns on the back wheel, which we can't do on our tandem. We can't do on our trikes. We can't do on our short wheelbases. So we've landed on this one, and we'll go through a few things on why this one is more comfortable. But back to the trike thing, balance and not being, not having the ability to fall or get your foot out. Any questions so far? Don't forget you can interrupt. Okay. I went through the dynamic, the vector, hand position, very important. The Gold Rush is the aluminum version made by Easy Racer Company in Freedom, California. Unfortunately, Freedom, California is in Silicon Valley, and I had the pleasure of visiting these people on several of their open houses, going up in there. He has a stunt plane, Corvette. He lived life in that fast lane, and he was so far ahead of his time. Gardner Martin, not to be confused with Martin Gardner, the mathematician. So he designed the bicycle inside this gold thing that's in, this is called the Gold Rush replica. This is the actual Gold Rush. It's in the Smithsonian. It's the world's fastest bicycle. Without a pace car, it exceeded the national speed limit. So he designed the, oh, look at that. The back cover is Gardner and Sandra at Woodstock. Oh, this is a great issue. So he was behind this. The company was called Easy Racers. I think they're going to come back. I was approached by one of the big Chicago dealers here a few years ago when they first went on hiatus. I call it hiatus because they still have a website up. And he said, the reason it went out of Silicon Valley is because to pay people enough to live there, to build the bikes, it was unsustainable. This would have to be $6,000 now. We sell used ones between $3,000 and $4,000. Tour Easy, the steel version, between $2,000 and $3,000, and antiques for less. So Joe, people know Joe from Chicago. We wanted to move the company, and I couldn't do it because I don't have the focus, to Indiana, where there are many out of work tradespeople, automotive, machinery, mechanical, motorhome, and build this thing there. Because I equate the design of this bicycle to an anecdote we had in photo school in Ohio University, 1970. They told us a story about Ansel Adams going to Yellowstone and making one of those famous, and somebody corrected me, Yosemite, I might have it backwards, and making the famous photo. Well, the next day, somebody said, well, this guy's making great pictures. I'm going to get the same shot he got. Went out there with the same 8.5 by 11, 8 by 11, cut frame, Deardorff film camera, swings, tilts, sliding front. Put his tripod in the same 3 sand divots Ansel Adams' tripod was in. Got the same composition, same time of day. Got a totally different picture, not even close. So people have tried to clone this many times, and with all due respect to my great friends at Rands, they make a Stratus bicycle that's very close to this. I've sold dozens of those. It's not the same. It just doesn't ride, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like the Coca-Cola formula or whatever, but it doesn't ride the same. This company was so effective in a cult following. I believe outside, maybe Klein bicycles. What else has a cult following? Does Fat Chance have kind of a cult following? So anything else? I think that's about it. And I mean, there's some people that like Trek bicycles, but Trek bicycles are made by 11 factories in 11 different states of Cambodia. But they had their own magazine, the Easy Riders Recumbent Club, and a lady named Lori was behind this thing. And she was very instrumental in developing the Harley. The Harley would have a following, okay, but they're not a bicycle. And there's another nice pen and ink drawing of Gardner Martin. But we went through his journal at his cremation ceremony, and the journal was just more fascinating than anything at this show. He designed in the 80s electric drone airplanes and helicopters that went up and down. They didn't have cameras in them back then. Any questions yet? 2-wheel, 3-wheel, anything. I want to get my safety talk out of the way. I always do a safety talk. Usually that's a boring thing when people hear about safety because you've heard it all. Wear a helmet, dress brightly. I got a couple that don't always come up. I went to hear Marla Streb talk a couple years ago. She was one of the 2 people I know that rode their bicycles to the delivery room. Okay, that's how much into bikes they were. So Marla opened the store, and in her safety talk, she says, I use a mirror. It's more important than in fact, when I don't see my mirror in there, it means my helmet's not on my head. So that reminds me that I forgot my helmet. Okay, I have been known to go out on a recumbent and a tricycle with this hat on, okay? If I feel like I'm in a position where I am not going to, it's a risk, but usually I'll break my knee or ankle or stub my toe, or get your foot under the trike. That's one of the worst things that can happen to you. And so Marla said, peering into that mirror, the helmet mirror or the handlebar mirror, if you see or hear a vehicle coming, Don't be predictable. Don't be predictable. Wiggle. I call it a gump, okay? Ooh, oh, because very few motorists want blood on their fender, okay? They give you a lot of room. You can hear the engine slow down. They fade far. That's with their way back, not within 100 feet. Wiggle a little bit. Whoa, you'll get their attention. And I want to talk about lights. When I sell a light at the bike shop, I don't say, are you going to ride at night? At night, a $10 light will usually do the job because you've got their attention, a reflector and a light. You got their attention. They're not looking at billboards and all the distraction, so much distraction that there's no computer that can take in what your eyes will take in 1 second. There's no computer in the world that can take in the information your eyes can take in 1 second. So in the daytime, they're distracted. You need to suck their attention off that telephone. Suck it off the phone with a bright blinky light in the daytime. Okay? And wiggle, okay? If you're out riding at night and you don't have your light, this one always works well. And I've been known to, we did a bike show in Indiana a month ago, and I went out and rode this thing at night. I ride in the right lane. When a light approaches me from the back, car coming, I get in the left lane. If a car's coming at me, I get back in the right lane. If they're coming in both directions, I'm off the road, okay? That's the way to just get home if you have to at night. Don't make them go, and don't be a gutter bunny when you're on your bicycle. They got the 3-foot people out here now. 3 foot's nice. Pennsylvania's got 4. In Europe, it's 4 inches. It's not a law, but in Europe, you're lucky to get 4 inches. I say they have the 3 centimeter rule. In Europe, people know where their fenders are. More people bike over there. There's never, in my experience in Europe, an on your left or any of that, or car back. There's none of that in Europe. The cars know how to treat you a lot better than they do here. But being a gutter bunny means they're going to try to get around you in that lane. And we all know to, without being obnoxious, take a little bit more lane so they have to go around you. Any comments or questions? Anything I need to address on safety? We're okay. Right dressing is good, but you got to suck that attention off the phone. And I've been known to go rogue and put white blinkers on the rear sometimes, okay? And they might think someone's coming at you. But be discreet. You don't want to blind anybody because they'll get you. Okay.
So what do you think about helmet lights?
Helmet lights are great. I like the ones with the turn signal on it. Now, turn signals on a bicycle, unless you do it the way Haza did, are very ineffective. Okay, they have them about 2 feet apart. And they offered me turn signals on my motorcycle in 1969, and they were a foot apart. And from a distance, the car really can't tell left from right. They just see a blinking yellow. But those helmet lights are great. Just make sure if your head's down, which we're not, your head's down like this, so you're not attracting birds, okay? Make sure they can see. I like light up, okay? And I don't know if it's this session or the next one, I talk about the 4 psychoses of cyclists, and one of them is, I think this will most of be tomorrow, one of them is the accessorizer. Okay, I talked to an accessorizer out here. It's like the man leaves the barbershop and he takes the comb out and changes that hair completely from the barbershop. The accessorizer gets the bike home and puts everything on there. Doomsday is coming. I better have this with me. The other is the sleeveless crowd, the men with the sleeveless that cannot be passed by anybody. They have to be the fastest. If a woman goes by them, it's a bad day. They've got to get out there and chase them. I talk about the sniffer. The sniffer is the person that goes to buy a bicycle and gets so close, you think they're smelling it and looking for a fingerprint. Or don't let that stuff get you down, okay? You're not going to be looking at the bike when you ride it, okay? And the other one was about price, okay? Whoa, that's $300 more than I wanted to spend. I said, well, change spend to invest. Because $300 is 3.5 tanks of gas in that Ford out there, okay? That gas will be gone in 3 weeks. That's 2.5 weeks of groceries. That'll be gone in a month, maybe 3 weeks, okay? That's dinner for 2 with wine 2.5, 3 times. Get the better bike. It's going to last you 20 years. It comes out to pennies a day. So it's always about the investment. All right, back to the two-wheeler, okay? as I said to those people who just got in, the trike is much more stimulating, a lot of fun. I ride trikes, but I say I have a trike as a second language, okay? It's my other bike is a trike. This is what I ride most of the time. In fact, my wife had such withdrawal from this that when we were in Florida, we walked into a retail store and we bought her a nice used Gold Rush down there, okay? This one, somebody said, Larry, take these, we have a pair of these wheels, put them on there, just to embrace the uninformed, the sleeveless guys, okay? The speed people that have to go faster. Because on my rides in Florida, there's a lot of men, it's a 55 and better community, that have turned to recumbents. Now, I got into it not because of butt problems. I can still ride a Italian saddle all day. Neck, shoulder, arm, there's a choir here, I know that, but neck, shoulder, arm, hands. And I suffer from CMC, and I'll talk about CMC in a minute because it's very important. That's called the carbo-metacarpal. It's the busiest joint in your upper extremity, the busiest joint. They now have a way to take a piece out of your somewhere and put it there, but the nerve gets twisted and you can't do much about it. CMC, and that does to do with hand angle, okay? If you're standing or sitting, what else could you be doing? Nobody's sleeping here. Hang the hands straight down. That's called wrist neutral, okay? It's so important that the paddle sports industry and the weightlifting industry and Harley Davidsons, they at 26,000, they better get the handlebars right, okay? And the steering wheel of your car. You don't put your hand out with that wrinkle. Pretend you're on a mountain bike handlebar and put your hand out. Somebody over there has a nice $300 titanium handlebar. Nice. But it's straight. Carver, I'll talk to him later. It's straight. So hold your hand out and look at that wrinkle. That's gonna do you in. Wrist neutral is this. When I get on a bicycle with straight or not swept back enough bars, I put my thumb over the bar. Next time you get on your bike, if it hurts here, try putting your thumb over, and if that feels better, then come back for a sweet bar. This is way ahead of their time. If you look back at the bicycles from the turn of the last century, 1800s to 1900s, you'll see the bar curves back, wrist neutral. Okay, it's incredibly more comfortable. If you got your hands straight out there, the bicycle industry did this to look more like a motorcycle. On a motorcycle, when they take a jump and they do what's called a cross-up, if you had a bar that curved back like this, your wrist wouldn't accommodate it. So that's what this swept back bar is. And I bend bars because the industry still doesn't do it. I realign. I don't like to use the word bend. I bend them back, okay? I don't know why they don't wake up. I know designers that are high up at all the big bike brands, and they still don't do this because of the look. 95% of the bicycles in this country are bought based on emotion. Emotion, okay? Americans spent $75 billion in 2019 to look cool. Everything from cosmetic surgery to, they have 48,000 square foot makeup stores, okay? So that, to clothing, to fashion, to body art, to just looking cool. The crowd here, I hope, is more in tune with comfort over cool.
Well,
and
I have another comment. So people who want to look cool are
Yeah.
not going to buy a two-wheel recumbent.
people that want to look cool buy this one. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I have to defend myself, but the Easy Racers are comfortable and
Right. That's not defending myself. I have people that come in. I have Harley crowds that come in. They're drawn right to this. That's why the name Easy Racer came from Easy Rider. So what they do with these cool wheels, and I have the Cobra seat, which I think to me looks a lot less sedentary. The mesh back feels better to me on a long ride, but there's nothing like the look of this Cobra seat. In fact, I have an abbreviated Cobra seat on my Florida bike, and I do only 20, 30 miles on that. And the base is still good, but I like the look of this because this embraces the martial art of Aikido is one of the most effective martial arts. Aikido means absorb. Absorb your opponent and dance with them, agree with them, and then throw them to the mat, okay? Versus saying no. We don't say, our staff is not allowed to say no unless they follow it with problem. We can't say problem unless we follow it with, proceed it with no, okay? So these are cool. These look very cool. Some of these carbon fiber baquetas, they're cool too. And a lot of the guys in Florida, the sleeveless crowd, have adopted those high racer bicycles. Way cool over comfort. This is more comfortable. Now it does have the stigma to some people of being a long wheelbase, okay? This one is 63 inches. I ride the smallest one I can. But I want to talk a little about sweet spots and positions. I'm going to go to the middle because I cannot hold the mic and do that at the same time. Okay? Floor's okay? All right. So the sweet spot. The sweet spot, if you stand up or sit down, elbows at the sides. That's a sweet spot. Keep that. Sweet spot. I say don't try this at home, but I leave my Easy Racer bars like this. Not too tight, not too loose. And I like to change as I ride. Sometimes I feel better this way, sometimes this way. I got it low enough just so it doesn't hit my knee, okay? When I do a tight turn, the knee goes out. That's the sweet spot. It allows my elbows to be right at my sides as if I were sitting or standing. Sweet spot, that's important. You've seen these guys. They're not comfortable holding the neck up. Maybe they are. If you can do that, more power to you. At the Cat Trike Rally, they only had one bike for me, and it wasn't a trike, it was their Musashi. And I was back like this, and the bars are way out here, and it didn't work. And I used to ride what's called under-seat steering bicycles. I didn't like my arms constantly hitting the back of the seat and twisting. I like my cockpit. This is my cockpit. If you're an accessorizer, you got your computer, your light, your AT&T, your water bottles, vodka here, orange juice there. You got your stuff. If you like fairings on bicycles, this is the only bicycle that's designed around the fairing, that's designed around the bike. The mounts are here and the bottom, and the fairing goes right with the bike. No things sticking out and poking and antennae and all that. This is made for the fairing, okay? And if you really like to ride in the buff, you can put a skirt around it, what's called a body stocking, okay? So this is made for the fairing.
Where can you get the skirts?
Body stockings?
Yeah.
There's
Body sock.
Body sock, they're out there, and there are people that make seat covers and mesh seats and all that. Gary Solomon knows the people that make the that stuff. That's all available, okay? Okay, would you put one of those on?
Yeah.
Just your head sticking out?
In the wintertime with the fairing, I would love it.
Yeah, good. Now, I don't get along with fairings because I'm a slob and I don't take care of things, okay? I've blown 2 trucks up, that's why.
Also, fairings are loud.
Fairings are loud. 1.5 miles advantage, 1.5 miles an hour at 20. That's what you get. 1.5 hour advantage going in a straight line. Going sideways, they're no better than these Aero wheels. Aero wheels, if the clock is not at 11:58 to 12:02, you're getting sheer on Aero wheels, these deep dish wheels, but they look cool, don't they, to some people? I think they look posy, but that's my call. So sweet spot is very important. This bicycle, the faster I go, the more stable it is. And at 70 plus, I can ride no hands at 25 miles an hour, no hands, and lean and steer. If you do have to steer, this is all the pressure that's on there, that middle finger. There's a street corner right there, about 7 degrees. So that sweet spot, to me, is much more important than reaching back here. Now, when I used to have under-seat steering, I had a long bikes and a Vision. I had side sticks and a linear. I had side stick steering. Side stick steering on my underseat was the sweet spot. It let my elbows be here, almost where this is, about the same. I just moved the wrist back and forth. The downside was I had to squoze the arms back and forth, okay? And Linda doesn't like that because she's got more in the arm and it hits the side of the seat. So we like, for us, the above seat, the ability to put fairings on. This bike, I think I mentioned, turns 0 degrees. I can pivot. I did it out in the lot just to test it. Basically on the back wheel. You put the hand out and, oh, for travel, transport, I have a little subcompact car at home and I can carry the large one of these, 69 inches. I turn that around. They're just lost 7 inches and I bring this down, okay? That locks it in and that hangs on the back of the car, okay? And when you go out in these high achiever rides and you're 70-something and you're keeping up with people 1/3 your age, they begin to look at the bike like this as something different than a Gizmobile, okay? Little different than a Gizmobile. You notice, is that pedal going around? I gotta give a pitch to Haza. These people right here, they make the two-wheeler that I ride. And you cut me off when I'm ready, okay? Okay. They make a two-wheel tandem. Has the chair in the front. I call it a high-low. It just rolls off the tongue better than semi-recumbent. Semi-recumbent might be Day 6 or a giant revived. Remember that? Whoa. Yeah, that was an answer without a question. Medicine with no disease, but I have one. And I bought it only 3 months ago, figuring somebody will want this, and it's very adjustable, okay? A little over-adjustable. That's what I call semi-recumbent. But the high-low, I can still ride upright. Linda's in the front. Her big dilemma in the front of that is knitting, Sudoku, email, or videos. And she does all 4 of those. She's made over 100 hats sitting on the front, and we keep the knitting bag behind her. And she still pedals, because I can watch her when she coasts. Okay, I can't say, are you pedaling? The last thing a captain wants to say is, are you pedaling? You ever? Okay. You know what happens when you say, are you pedaling? She immediately goes on strike. The legs go backwards, okay? You get a dead leg, all right? So that bike begs the question, what is the other outdoor activity 2 people can do, activity, sports, and communicate in a whisper? What's the other outdoor activity? That's right, a roll in the hay. Yeah, I knew you'd get it. What? Canoeing. That's like riding a regular tandem. You got water, noise. Yeah, I'm talking about having your head 4 inches from her here. For us, it makes it very easy to argue discreetly and gossip about people. I can hear her bitch and she can hear me moan. Okay, the heads are just inches apart. So if you're lovey-dovey age and you want to communicate, this is great for a couple of soulmates, okay? Her head, and she's got the window seat. She's got the window seat, I've got the window seat, okay? The only trouble is, in Europe, some of the bridges are high, and I try to tell her how nice the Danube looks going over the chain bridge in Budapest. She says, I can't see it. She's only this high and I'm here, so we'll stop and she'll look over. And the other thing is, don't think you can't steer a Hazepino from the front, because there's no handlebars, or a regular tandem from the rear. Because if she leans far enough, there's no way I'm going the other way in that tandem. If she goes on strike and doesn't want to go up that hill or doesn't want to be near the edge of the road, she will lean to the inside. She's always listening. The left rail of the seat on the Pinot is in her mid-back. And I said, what's up? I said, are you trying to let some gas out or something? She said, no, I just don't want to be that close. Take questions? What'd I miss? I got notes. Okay. Sure. The pedal. Give me that pedal there, please. Okay. So, I show up. I was in the Amalfi coast of Italy 4 years ago, teching a ride, and I forgot my bike shoes. Well, I forever forgot my bike shoes because whatever on my feet is my bike shoes. I've got this pedal. It's called the Pedaling Innovations Catalyst. It's like drinking a different kind of Kool-Aid, okay? The clipless pedal industry, they laugh a little bit because they've got a large foot on a tiny little puck, okay? Explain that one in physics class or in science class. The large foot on a little puck. Yeah, you gotta ride a stiff sole shoe, but still, you're focusing all the energy. This person, his pedal is low, so it's the opposite of pedaling in high heels. It's grippy. A sharp knife is safer than a dull knife. Very grippy. And it's big. We used to go along when I was teaching a bike class, ball of the foot on the pedal. You, lift up, strap in. Ball of the foot, no heel. Well, pedal with your heel, pedal with your arch, pedal with the ball of the foot. When you're on a recumbent, changing that foot position frequently changes how much leg extension you get. And this is very good for the musculoskeletal part of your body, which is a big part of your body. Change it around, pedal with that heel. Break those rules. Pedal with the arch, pedal with the ball of the foot. This pedal allows you to, if you have over a size 12, they make one even bigger than this. So we sell these, we've sold over 500 pairs. 3 have come back. 3, we tell you a joke, and we give you your money back, okay? Because cheerfully refunded has to be cheerful. So I tell you a real good joke, give your money back. One person, Saul, was a volunteer at our store, 83 years old. He brought him back, he says, the guys are giving me a hard time because of my sedentary, old-looking pedals. So Saul's bicycle is a Trek Postal Service carbon fiber bike with road handlebars. This is probably from the late 80s, early 90s. It's an old one with 3 stem extensions on it. So he's got drop bars, but it's 12 inches above the seat. And they were giving him a hard time about his pedals, okay? So peer pressure, don't let peer pressure get you down, okay? In fact, when we're in the recumbent group, or a trike group, and somebody goes by on an upright or a diamond, we say, whoa, that's a strange bike. What else do I have to say? With these bikes, there is one of the things I talk about I do a lot of senior talks in Florida. I talk about bike position, and we know all this. When they say, I can't lean over, and they get a Comfort or a hybrid bike, and they want the handlebars right here. I call that the chair position. And I say, do me a favor, stand up. Sit in the chair. They can't stand up, so they lean forward. I said, you got to lean forward. I says, talk to your Pilates instructor. Try to get that back down. Open up the spine. When that spine is open up, the spinal cord runs in the back of the spine, okay? So if you lean forward, you open it up and things work better. If you absolutely positively can't lean forward, get at least a day 6 bicycle with a backrest on it, okay? Not a townie or something like this. They're fun, but if you go, and I always ask a disclaimer, are you going more than 10 miles? I said, you're gonna work 30% harder in the chair. Or don't worry about what anybody says, get a recumbent bicycle. If that doesn't work, go for the tricycle. Or better yet, both. You gotta have both. Because there's different, you just have one trike and one bike? Question.
Okay, so you're recommending...
She's not with the show, by the way.
Yeah, and long wheelbase we know are great. And do you just tell your customers to buy them used? Because they're so, no Easy Racers is out of business?
I say buy everything used. My wife married a used man. Used is not a 4-letter word. The sniffer is not going to buy anything used. If it had any kind of DNA anywhere near it, okay, they don't want it. I have an employee that'll only eat fresh packaged food. It can have a whole chemistry set list of stuff on it, but it's got to be fresh packaged. And when he's done with it, out it goes. And I go and I take it and I eat the rest of it. I'm not slobber-phobic, okay? I say get as much used as we can. There's, what?
I only ask because you're a shop owner, and usually shop owners want to get
no.
stuff through the shop.
No, I wrote I wrote an open letter to the industry calling out all this stuff that I'm talking about. The handlebars, I called them out. The sleeveless crowd, all that stuff. I said, no good. I says, why are you doing this? Just for forced innovation? What was the Specialized thing? Innovate or die? That's BS. And I think everybody rides a used bike. Who do you know that doesn't ride a used bike? Everybody rides a used bike. It's used when it goes out the door. So don't be afraid of used. Nobody can make anything today any better than they could 20 years ago for the same amount of money. You just can't do it, okay? When I walk up to something, all I gotta do is say, oh, you want the Cambodian Trek? And that gets them thinking. There's nothing wrong with those bikes. They work fine. You want the Cambodian Trek. And if they're any way politically motivated, they'll say, no, you got one from the U.S.? I said, yeah, it's pre-loved, and it'll work great for you. So that's a great question. Used is the way to go. And I keep, as an orthodox OCD hoarder, I have a lot of everything ever made. And I don't believe the human anatomy, mind, body structure has changed since 1998. It hasn't changed. Why do they keep coming up with all these new things? Because you can't sell people things they already have as well as you can sell them something new, okay? The only marketing class I ever had, and I sat in on it and audited, the guy says you gotta sell fun and something they might not already have. When the mini skirt, they made a maxi. They made low-top shoes, they made high-top shoes. They made black Converse, they made white Converse. Sell them something they don't already have, okay? I'm saying you may be running farther away from something that you want or should have, and you may be getting closer to something that you don't want. We have resurrected, during the pandemic, the average bike shop. They said, what are you gonna do when Trek bought 7 shops in Virginia and 7 shops in Maryland in a 14-day period? That was the best thing that ever happened to me, because they're company stores and they're not flexible. So they keep sending people to me. There are things they could do that's just out of their comfort zone. They see a recumbent bicycle or a trike and the knee jerk makes noise, okay? And I say, bring it to me. I used to tell them how to do it. Now I say, no, pandemic's here, we need the business, we'll do it the same day. 90% of what I do is the same day. You can even watch me, although I like to take a little extra time so they don't see how easy it was, okay? It takes those tours the same amount of time to do the bike if they keep it in the basement for 3 weeks as it does for me, who gets it out right away, and you're not paying perceived storage. She's not with the show, I promise.
How are you going to get younger people to ride these things? We're all old.
I am old. Some people say we're getting older, which is common to everybody. It lead by example. When you go on, you mean 20-somethings to 40-somethings, not children. Yeah, my daughter had a recumbent when she was 7. Bike E made her a smaller one, and she rode that all over the place. We did with motor hoping, and she'd ride that. But you lead by example. You let them know how comfortable you are just by the smile on your face, okay? That's how you go ahead.
I can say from personal experience that, being a young person and going around riding a tie rush, that alone has been sparking interest, people my age. I have this one guy, huge BMXer, he does wheelies all day long. He's the coolest dude, he's a brewer, and he wants a tie rush now. He says it's the coolest bike he's ever seen in his life, and he's ultra jealous. He wants one now.
So she said there's a BMXer that's adoring her. She's a 20-something, and she's in that younger crowd you were addressing, and she rides that bike. And I had a kid once in the Maryland Orchestra University, bought a Vision in 1996 when they were very popular, and he said, I want a rack on the back to carry my oboe. So he was this scholarly oboe guy who just recognized, because of his intellectual background and the people with whom he associated, a lot of older people, that he knew the recumbent would be the future for him because of the positioning of it and how it would alleviate neck, back, arm, shoulder, and butt pain.
I'm curious how many recumbent manufacturers there still are, what the annual production is in general, and I don't see these being a hugely popular bike, and I don't see that changing in the future.
They're not, no. I'm wondering how Carver's selling those $10,000 titanium ones. They're great bikes. I almost ordered one for my wife, but we're not particular. Another thing I like to say about wheel size, okay? There is a perception out there that the bigger wheel is better. That's like men who think more vitamins are good, they just have expensive urine, okay? When I sell a tricycle, I say, let me give you a couple advantages of a 20-inch wheel. Same tire, same tube, lower center of gravity, stronger bracing hour, lighter weight, easier acceleration, lower gear for getting uphill. And then I say, now, here are the advantage of the 26-inch wheel. Here are the advantages of the, and I try to think of a couple. The only one I can really think of is the perceived value that you get to pedal slower. I don't want to say go faster. You can pedal slower with the bigger wheel. And if it floats the boat, I sell them. They're fine. And 700C wheels don't belong in this building, even on this bike, okay? For years, and I'm from a road background, not a 26-inch background. For years, I tried to get them and Rans and Catrike to make their back wheel a 26, okay? 26-inch, 559 millimeters has been around since the 1920s. It is a very popular size. They experimented with 27.5s, 29s. I've got a bike with 36-inch wheels on it, okay? Bigger is not better. So if I could change the world, I'd have all these roadie-style bikes, be it a Baquetta, a Rans, Easy Racer, Catrike 700, any of these, have a 26 on the back, because on a 26, you can buy a pencil-thin 18 millimeter tire, and you can buy a 4-inch tire. Now, it won't fit on that rim, but theoretically, the 26 has the widest range. This one, in particular, has the bigger of the 20-inch front wheels. It actually measures a little over 22. I did it because it rolls over bumps a little bit easier, though I can't get fat tires on it, okay? And they say fatter is not always better. A fat tire is for buoyancy. Buoyancy. Buoyancy means the ability to stay on top of the dirt and gravel and mud. Any other questions? They're kicking us out.
How many companies still produce?
Oh, that question. I can think of about 8 people that make two-wheel recumbents and probably 25 that make trikes. Okay, I have most of those represented in the store, either in the boneyard or new. But selling this today is tough. But I get people to come in. I sell one every couple of weeks of these things, and I've got dozens of them in all sizes. When you got something like this, it lasts.
How often do you have people bringing old Torresi and electrified?
2015, my wife went to choir, and when she got back, I had a little motor on the front. And she claims that I personally like wheel motors myself. I like wheel motors because it's simple and it doesn't put stress on the drivetrain or the chain and things like. People think, well, that recumbent chain's real long. It's got to wear out faster. It lasts twice as long as a short chain because the same link goes around half the speed, half the time. So I put the motor on, and she rides more now than she ever did, even without the motor, gets more exercise. She claims I only push the button when I hurt my knees near the top of a hill. I said, you can push the button when you get out of bed in the morning and let it go when you go to sleep at night. But the battery's only going to last so long. So it makes sense. And you can put them on the front, too. You can put them on the front to rear. But on these, I like a wheel motor. It was just simpler, okay? Go ahead.
One more thing.
She's not with the show either. These are my groupies.
I had my Ran Stratus converted to an e-bike last year by Josiah and Angletech in Colorado Springs, and I really will put a plug-in for an e-bike, Stratus XP.
Linda, she used to ride before her father made it to 100 years and 2 days last month. That was what we call mission accomplished. She used to ride to his place in Sykesville. Well, the only way out of Sykesville, Maryland, is up a hill. And she rode there in 35 minutes on the Gold Rush with the motor, and to drive there is 21 minutes. So that is a 11-mile, 9.5, 10-mile ride. Go ahead.
Brought up the thought in my mind. So, yeah, hub motors, you can put it on the front and the back. Now, how does that change the ride?
Well, I think a hub motor, being unsprung weight, might be a little bit better for the ride because the wheels got power going through it anyway. I use what's called a Grin motor out of Canada. Grin is called an all-axle motor. You can use it with through axle, quick release, bolt on, or front or rear, or a tadpole trike. You can actually put 3 of these motors on a tadpole trike. Now there you go. That's a real get a load of this guy's thing, huh? Look what I got. I got a tri-motor. They haven't done that since the Ford in World War II. You got a motor on each wheel in the front and one in the back, okay? And then you got an entourage behind you following you with batteries. Any other questions, comments? Did you ask me about the motor? Yeah. Josiah.
3 minutes.
What's that?
That guy's talking.
3 minutes? 3 minutes. This means 5 minutes. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Anybody want to advertise anything? You just advertised Angletech.
Who wins the contest?
Okay, I want to introduce Peter Stull, one of my colleagues in the bike. Stand up. Stand up. Peter is in Alfred Station, New York. He is the bicycle man. Tim Fricker is from Bikes at Vienna in Virginia. We're the closest recumbent shops that still get along, okay? And our crew here you're from where?
I'm from Terra Cycles. Next speaker.
Are you Pat Franz?
No,
Okay, you know Bob?
Bob.
From TerraCycle.
We don't have a Bob.
No more Robert?
No, he left in like 2018.
Wow, that's back before whatever. What else? That's it. Go have a good show. I am done. Magazine. All right, you get the prize. Yeah, come on. You've been bugging me. Here you go. Yeah.
Wow.
This is not makeup. It goes on your
Well, good.
bicycle.
I don't really
Okay.
have a